The way the season has gone has Giants fans already looking forward to next offseason. For me, it's not about wins and losses anymore. It's about who wants to remain a New York Giant. Let's start the podcast. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Breaking Tackles, the New York Giant podcast. I am your host, Antonio Reyes. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I appreciate everybody who takes the time to listen to this podcast and appreciate the work that I'm doing. I do it for y'all. I do it for myself because this is awesome. I love talking about the Giants. I love talking football. And listen, Twitter. The crazy thing about it is that the more the Giants are down and doing bad, I mean, Twitter has just been that much entertaining. So big shout outs to everyone in Giants Twitter community. This is also for the Facebook community that I am just recently merging into, man. You guys are just as passionate too. I see your posts. I am looking to interact with you guys more. I'm looking to break down film and show you guys what I see. And hopefully you guys will like that aspect of it also. And nothing, man. Let's start the show. Let's talk about what we have going on, which is a hot mess in the New York Giants, man. Our team is decimated with injuries, but you know what? Nobody in the NFL cares, and neither should we. We should just, again, the coaches, everybody in the team, the players have said next man up mentality. Well, let's see what the next man up could do with this team, which is against the Rams. It wasn't much, but here we are. So let's break down this week's matchup, which is the Carolina Panthers. And the Carolina Panthers come in with probably their worst game of the season. They threw that game. And for those that don't know, threw means pretty much just gave the game away to the Vikings. They had that game, and even though they were throwing it away, they had a point where they tied it and they went to overtime and just couldn't come back for it. I think Carolina is going to come here and they're angry. And they're going to try to establish their identity again, which is running the ball, even though Christian McCaffrey is hurt. Their best player on both sides of the ball, which is Christian McCaffrey, is hurt. And regardless of the fact, they're still going to bring Chuba Hubbard and try to run the ball down our throats. And they have a good reason to believe they're going to be able to do that. And I'll break down why it actually looks like it's going to be in their favor to run the ball. All right, guys, let's break down this game. So what do we have? We have the battle of two QBs who are both in a funk. I would say Sam Darnold has 3 games where he hasn't performed his best. Yes, it sucks that he doesn't have his best weapon, which is CMC. But guess what? That's the same boat where Daniel Jones is, where not only does he not have his best weapons, he doesn't have anyone. Slayton is hurt. Shepard is hurt. Tony is hurt. Galladay is hurt. Saquon is hurt. So it's literally playing with the backups of the backups, and it's crazy, man. And the guy's pretty much in the practice squad. I've never seen something like this in the Giants. I mean, it does have a familiar feel. I think I do remember that we had one time where we had, I think it was Cruz, Odell, and Shep go down in the same game. I can't recall that too vividly right now, but I do remember we had something like this. But this is even worse because we even have linemen that are gone for the season, which has even fans talking about, hey, maybe we got to change the turf or we got to do something here, but something is just not right. I agree. There has to be something going on in turf or something like that. But at the same time, it's like you have to look at what the Giants have in their facility, what the Giants have in the stadium, and how many teams out there have that exact same type of turf on their practice facility and on their stadium, and they're not dealing with those type of things. And if you do see a correlation there, then it is what it is. If you don't, then you don't. You know what I'm saying? It could just be just plain old bad luck. All right, let's go ahead and start off with the offense for the Carolina Panthers. And what can we say? You know, they have an 11 personnel for the most part type of offense, where they have one tight end, one running back, 3 wide receivers. Maybe it's different when they have Christian McCaffrey in the game, but as far as what we've seen from them from last tape, again, I always look at the last game tape because that's where you mostly see what's going on. I'll tell you one thing, I'm impressed about their formations. They are very, they switch up their formations a lot. It looks like it's a compared at least to our playbook, it looks like it's a complicated playbook. So much props to Matt Rule in that aspect. What I notice at their tendencies is a lot when they're in the shotgun and they're doing a run play. It's usually a outside zone stretch. Amazing looking play, by the way. I wish the Giants would do that instead of the inside zone, where the difference between the inside zone is where you're automatically trying to crash that between the guards at all times, where as opposed to this, which is the outside zone play. And it's also works for their RPO also. It's the outside zone is where he's trying to go either inside the tackle or outside the tackle. It's based on what does he see that he likes. It's just a better chance to hit a home run type of play. Sometimes they pull guards, sometimes they don't. But it's immediately I already thought of, holy crap, the Giants are going to have a horrible time with that, because what is the strength of the Giants defense, if you want to say a strength? I know the Giants have been struggling mightily, but it's the inside. It's Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams. Well, they're not going to run it towards Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams unless those guys crash and crash hard. More than likely, they're not going to be able to make the play. It's going to be the linebackers, both the outside linebackers and the inside linebackers. It's going to have to be a lot. And to be honest, I have a lot of faith in Reggie Ragland in terms of tackling, that he is going to be in position to make those plays. What I am worried about, honestly, is our outside linebackers. And our outside linebackers is not only containing, because containing is one thing, but you have to stand your ground and not allow the offensive tackles to extend you out of the way as an outside linebacker. Because if they extend you so much, then between the guard and the tackle, there's just going to be a huge hole there that the running back is going to do what he wants. And we just see that happening a lot on the Giants, especially with Lorenzo Carter, unfortunately, where I do see him and he establishes the containment, but he doesn't get pushed towards the tackle. So the tackle is pushed in. And that's something the Giants desperately need to work on. I would even sometimes listen. Here's a problem with the New York Giants, and this is something that I also noticed. I'm like, damn, why don't the Giants do kind of things like this? All right, so I saw Pittsburgh run what looked like a 5-2. Obviously, it's a 3-4. We all running the 3-4 similar. It's 3 defensive linemen, and you got the 2 outside linebackers, but it's 5 on the defensive line. I really do want to see the Giants just go kind of cover 3 and bring down a safety. Have 3 people in the middle of the field in terms of 2 linebackers and a safety. And then have those 5 men on the line of scrimmage, which is the 2 outside linebackers and the 3 defensive ends, all rushing at the same time, just a 5-manner. But it's not only just rushing in, but I do want to see all 3 interior linemen, the DEs and the nose tackle, play a little tighter together. What I noticed from the Giants is that they have very big gap assignments in terms they're filling a gap every hole, where I would like to see more of the DEs to be on outside shoulder of the guards, and I would love to see the nose tackle just head on the center. And I think that would help our outside linebackers just a little bit more, at least on first down. Obviously, there's a big chance that you might get burned, because obviously it's pretty much sending a blitz every time. But again, that's why you have it as a zone. And I think that would work. And if it's a run, it should be definitely plugged in, covered up. And again, we just gotta also make some tackles. We get penetration, but we just don't get tackles sometimes. And the New York Giants defense is funny, man. I mean, this defense is, again, I mentioned this in the last podcast. These guys are just play so good, and I'm sure they just want to lead. But unfortunately, our offense just it's a bit struggling. It's sluggish, and this is now 2 seasons now in a row where it's sluggish, and you just can't expect the defense to carry that level. In my opinion, and I'll say this over and over and over and over, I see it. I see it, guys. It's missed assignments. A lot of the things that's wrong with our team, missed assignments, and also just questionable play calling at certain times. I wish I had this information, guys, but the Giants just keep getting killed on cover one. I mean, like, I wish they just throw away cover one, because cover one is just not for us. But let's get back to the Panthers, guys. DJ Moore, I think it's a guy where we have to be very careful with this man. Like, if we are in man coverage, I just don't see anyone in the Giants keeping up with him. The Panthers' problem is that sometimes they shoot themselves in the foot. If we think we have drop issues, well, the Panthers are the leading in that category, and that's not a good thing. That's a terrible thing. They're the team that drops the most passes. On top of that, Sam Darnold puts his wide receivers in a very dangerous position. Like so many times last week, and I don't know if I didn't watch Darnold that much on the Jets, but at least last week he put his receivers in positions where they were like concussion ready. I mean, hit stick ready. Just really questionable things that Sam Darnold was doing, where if I was a wide receiver, I'll punch Sam Darnold in the face and I'll be like, yo, stop doing that. Like, you're putting my career in danger by throwing some of these balls. Like, dude, he got his one of his wide receivers X-factored. And if you don't know what X-factor is what we used to say a term and when we were playing high school ball, where somebody hits you low and somebody hits you high. And that's what happened. It did get a penalty, but it's just like, dude, don't even put your wide receivers in that position. So that's Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold also is having one of his best seasons, and he's using his legs to an insane amount. And that's something that, listen, I saw some games from Sam Darnold before his last season as a Jet, some games, something crazy, and I just saw some plays that Sam Darnold did, and I'm just like, dude, how can the Jets be getting rid of this guy? This guy can ball. And the problem with Sam Darnold, I'm starting to realize now, is that yes, he has moments where he shows it, just like a lot of QBs in the league, where they have moments where they show it, but it's not consistent enough. Hello? I mean, we have that in New York too with Daniel Jones. But in my opinion, I think that Sam Darnold right now looks a lot better than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is just on a... Again, man, I just don't like quarterbacks that don't extend plays and don't create with themselves. Like, if the pocket is not clean for Jones, forget about it, man. It's just gonna be a disaster of a game. Again, another point about the offense, man. Again, we mentioned it's very versatile. It just has multiple formations. It's super dope. It's a run first formation. We're gonna see a lot of Chuba Hubbard because CMC is hurt. And Chuba Hubbard, man, I like what I saw out of that guy. That guy looks like he has that third gear. Nothing special about him in terms of like, man, is he gonna take over a game? I don't think so. But I do think that if the Giants open up a hole in the secondary, he's going to capitalize on that. So that's what we have to be very careful on. Listen, this game more than any other game, obviously, we have to. This is the same situation as the Dallas Cowboys game, where you have to, if you don't stop the run, it's game over. Don't even worry about it, because the thing is that you can't handle the run. You're not going to handle the run and pass. If you stuff the run, if you commit to the run, which this is kind of like my problem with all this, is that the Giants are going to run a lot of cover one. I can see they're going to have single high safety. For my sake, I hope they have it in cover 3 and not cover 1. I am going to check the tape tomorrow, and I'm gonna post videos on the Giants and giving up their explosive plays on cover one. And I'm just gonna check out some of the videos throughout the season for that. The offensive line for the Carolina Panthers is the complete opposite for us, believe it or not, where they're really good at run blocking, which we're not, and then they're really bad at pass blocking, which we're still not the best line in pass blocking. But I would say if we have some games where we're not allowing sacks, I think that's a great job by our offensive line. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case in the last 2 games. We're still, though, only giving up 2 sacks per game, which is not, obviously is not what you want to do also. But think about it. Our last 3 games, we're only giving up 1.3 sacks. And that's actually like a top 10 type of number. Our last 3 games, obviously, we have New Orleans where we didn't give up a sack, but then obviously we gave up sacks in Dallas, and I think that we gave up sack in Dallas. I'm not sure if we actually gave up sacks in the Dallas game. Let me go double check that. Actually, we didn't give up a sack in the Dallas game, so that's actually crazy. We went 2 games in a row without giving up a sack before we gave the sack. So to be honest, listen, here's my thing too. Is this offensive line great? No, but I can tell you right now, there's a lot of dudes out there that wish they had this offensive line. Maybe not the one that we're putting up this weekend because we don't have Andrew Thomas. We have backups all over. The only guy who was scheduled to start this year, I believe, was Will Hernandez. And then everybody else was not supposed to be there. Maybe our right tackle, but he is trash anyways. What is this guy's name, man? I forgot. Nate Soldier, of course. Nate Soldier. Oh, I wish we was playing with 4 linemen instead of that guy on the field. That man is a liability. Matt Pearl didn't look too good when he was out there against the Rams, but I mean, which not many people do. Especially I'm pretty sure he didn't practice with the number one offense throughout the week, and he was thrown to the wolf. We thought that Andrew Thomas was going to be playing out there, and he wasn't. And then, lo and behold, Matt Peart has to come in and get destroyed. So it is unfair to kind of critique him for one game. I already have people saying that he's not the one. I'm like, dude, come on. Like, you guys haven't even seen him play. The kid is young. Just give him a chance to just try to make a play or just try to hold his own. Again, you're not, after one play, you can't say that that's what a lineman is. Those are the same people that were saying that Andrew Thomas wasn't the one, and we know that Andrew Thomas now is a thing of beauty to watch him pass block. So let's give Matt Peart his chance. Let's give him his opportunity to fail to see if we got something there, guys, because we might have Peart and Andrew Thomas, and that might be the future of this franchise. Please, just give him a chance. He's gonna fail before he succeeds. Very rare are you going to have guys that are just gonna come out and are gonna dominate from day one. Those are the elite players. But I digress. Let's get back to the Carolina Panthers offense and the Giants defense. So we spoke about the offense. I think, again, the 2 things that we have to be careful with is DJ Moore, and the number 1 thing is the outside zone run off a shotgun. It's just too good. We got to be really careful with that. Hopefully they're not abusing that over and over. What do the Giants defense needs to do? Plain and simple, man. Our outside linebackers, you guys have not really shown up on tape, and we need to see big time plays out of those guys. Unfortunately, it hasn't looked really good. So we need to see the run stop from this team. We need to see that crowded box. But what we don't need to see is cover 1 or a lot of man coverage. We need to play zone. Sam Darnold is highly susceptible to zone. We need zone blitzes. But if we play man, I feel like that's going to be in such a big favor of Darnold. And that's pretty much it. That's what we're going to say in the offensive side for the Panthers. Let's go ahead to the defensive side of their ball. The Carolina Panthers on defense, man. This is where the nightmare really is, because they are a heavy zone 4-3. You will see them in cover 3. You will see them in cover 2. Mostly predominantly cover 3 because their weakness is the run. Obviously, they were playing cover 3 a lot against the Vikings. They're not going to be probably in cover 3 with us because they're probably going to think, hey, listen, we could probably stop them with 2 safeties up. And they know that the only way the Giants can beat them is if the pass is working for us, because obviously who the hell is going to say that we're good enough to run the ball and run 200 yards or 150 yards on anybody? I wouldn't say that that's true. I wouldn't say that that's a possibility. All right, guys, Hassan Reddick for them is a monster. That kid 43, man, number 43 is just doing things that I love seeing. It's gonna be fun seeing that for sure. They're gonna get Stephon Gilmore now this week, I believe. He's finally gonna practice with them. As a matter of fact, we're gonna check that out right now. To be honest, this said limit participating practice. I don't think. Okay, so it looks like he's hurt or whatever, so he might not play. He might play. He might not. If he does play, that's automatically a spark plug for them, and that puts them in an even more dangerous situation. Again, here's the problem with this whole team against the Giants and the Panthers. What the Panthers are good at, we're bad at. And what the Panthers are bad at, we're not good at. So after looking at the tape, it's just really hard for me to see a Giants winning this, to be honest, guys. And what I am looking for is just for effort from different players. Because the only way that we can win this game is for effort. Because, again, on offense, Carolina likes to run the outside zone. We are terrible on the outside run. Defending the outside run. We're terrible defending the inside run too. But the outside run especially, we're terrible. Carolina on defense, they're really bad against stopping the run. Well, we're not very good at rushing the ball anyways. So that's the situation where we at with this team, is that what they're bad at, we just don't do good at. And what they're good at, we're really bad at. So with that formula and that being said, I honestly have the Panthers winning this game. The only way that I see the Giants winning this game again is effort. And it's funny because I opened up the show with saying who wants to be here next year, who's going to show that they're going to be a Giant for next year. People are playing right now for their jobs. And a lot of people are playing for their jobs on other teams right now too, man, because if you're doing really good, don't be surprised if by the trade deadline you're gone and you're traded to another team. And I think that's a great thing for a player. Think about it. If a player is getting traded, he's probably getting traded to a team that's actually competing. So you go from 1-5 to freaking 4-3, 4-2, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be looking good for them. I love the linebackers in this team. Reddick again is amazing. So he's not a safety. He's a strong side linebacker. This guy plays really good. 43. I was really impressed with what I saw from him. He was just so fast that I thought he was a strong safety, to be honest. So I apologize, guys, on that. Jermaine Carter, Shaq Thompson. I love this linebacker crew. They could play pass coverage. Shaq Thompson is one of my favorite linebackers, period. So it's going to be interesting to see, man. The Giants are just... Here's how the Giants have a chance at this game. If we use Evan Ingram the correct way, which we haven't done all season, and I'm not hopeful that we're going to start today. If we run screens, which we haven't done enough all season long, and if we start using more deep plays, because again, the Giants are currently right now under 5 yards per attempt in plays. So that means that they're getting a lot of underneath stuff. We're just, again, people keep telling me, hey, Daniel Jones is one of the most accurate quarterbacks down the field, stuff like that. Well, you got to show me. You got to get the reps in, and you got to do it more often, because doing it once a game, it's not going to work. You're not going to win games that way in the NFL. So it's going to be interesting, guys. I personally, again, Daniel Jones has to play out of this world. This offensive line has to provide him help, because obviously he is not going to carry this offensive line. This offensive line has to carry him. And it is what it is. So I'm going to wrap it up right here, guys. Again, I want to thank you so much, guys. I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments or on Twitter. Like, subscribe the page. Help me out build this. And yeah, guys, we're going to go ahead, and tomorrow I'll go ahead and cut some clips up and show you guys some of what I think is some of the problems on the defense. Again, I think it's schematic. I don't think it's really necessarily on the players. I think it is on the players, again, but it's also schematic. So it's also on the coaches. There's a lot of misassignments by players, but there's a lot of also boneheaded play calls by the coaches. And hopefully I get to show you guys that on the film breakdown. Alright, guys, for Breaking Tackles, I am Antonio Reyes, and thank you so much for listening to the show, man. I love this. Again, shout outs to Twitter, shout outs to Facebook, man. You guys have a great one. Bye bye.